Hello everyone. Today we are going to continue with the programs related to fork and the wait system call. The first question that we are going to discuss is to create a parent-child relationship between two processes such that the child process creates a file named relation.txt and the parent process writes some content into it by taking the input from the user. So this means you need to have a parent process which creates a child process. Then the child should create a file and the parent must write into that file. So this is the order that is required to be followed. So I have included the header files. Now since we need to create a child process, so we need a variable of the type PID_T. Let's suppose that the variable is C. Then we need to create the child using the fork system call. Now check for the child and for the parent process. So if C equal to 0, this means that this particular code will be executed by the child. So what the child is supposed to do is the child is supposed to create a file. So we'll use open, file name is relation.txt, o_create, and then we need to write the permission. So let's give all the permissions. So since we need to save the file descriptor, so ft, let's take this variable int ft. Next, so this is the part that is to be done by the child. So let's use a printf here, file created by child. Now in the parent part, what the parent is supposed to do is open the file, open it, relation.txt, open it in read write mode. Now one thing is that we need to ensure that this file already exists. So this means the parent must wait until the child has created the file. So it's important to use the wait system call. And once the file has been created using open, so let's close it also for the parent to open it again. Now the file is open. Read from the user into the buffer. Let's suppose maximum of 100 characters. So whatever is read, the amount I need to store in a variable. So let's define these two things, the integer variable n and the character buffer of size 100. So now since we have read the content, write into file descriptor from the buffer how much, n. Close the else part, close the main function, save it, compile, q3.c, error in ocreate. Okay, I have missed the header file, hash include sys_stat.h and hash include fcntl.h. Compile again, no error, run it. So file created by child, and now it is waiting for, the parent is waiting for the input from the user. Some content for the file. So now we can check relation.txt. So you can see some content for the file. What we can do is we can modify this a little bit, because the user was not aware that is supposed to write. So what we can do is, after opening the file or even before doing it, what we can do here, printf enter some content to be written into the file. So this you can display to the user. Compile again, run it, file created, enter some content. Okay, new data. Now open the file content relation. Now don't get confused that why this data is there, because what has happened is the original content will be overwritten with the new content. Since the new content was less than the original content, so the rest of the original content is already there in the file. Now the second question is, again we need to create a parent-child relationship, and the parent is supposed to print two statements. Parent is having ID, whatever is the parent ID. B is ID of P is child, so parent's child is, and then you need to print the PID of the child. Similarly, the child is supposed to print two statements, C and D. Now what I want is that the order of these four statements A, B, C, D should be A, C, D and then B. Okay, so this is the desired order. So once again start with the data type PID underscore T for the child process, create the child. If C equal to 0, then what we need to do is printf. So this is the child is supposed to, so this was the statement number C. So the child is supposed to print two statements C and D. Statement number C was child is having ID. So you print the ID here, percentage %T get PID, and then D statement was my parent ID is percentage %T for parent ID get PPID. Else printf statement number A was parent P is having ID, print the PID of the parent get PID. And now the second statement for the parent was my child's ID is, so the ID is saved in C percentage %T and you write C. Now the order of statement was A, C, D and then B. So what I need to do here is use wait after the first statement in the parent. Save it, compile and then run the program, and I can see that the order is A, C, D and B. So that's it for this lecture. In the next tutorial we are going to cover the programs on threads.